Hello and welcome to One Community. Today I have with me Ian, who is a developer, who is a business development manager, and he also writes amazing content on the internet. So he has been writing content since long time, and one of like two of my favorites content, which he just puts out last month, was how Discord won and uh, the opportunities for internet communities. So today I'm with Ian to talk more about that deep dive, deep diving in on the content that he wrote. So welcome Ian to Uncommunity. It's so exciting to have you here today.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah. So Ian, why don't you start right? So let's say like you have been, I mean, you are a business development manager, you are a developer, and then you write content. So I mean, it's just too much of a work. So let's just start from there, right? How do you manage time? And let's just like do your intro, like a short intro for people.
Sure. So, yeah, I work as both a business development manager for a strategy and communications consultancy, and I work as a developer for a startup who's building interactive video. So both those things kind of require different skills, and I spread it out throughout the day, but I usually like to prioritize in the morning important things like calls or writing. I always like to do in the morning. And then kind of work on less important things throughout the day because, my mornings is kind of my most important time. Um, Both of them are kind of part-time and flexible, so I get to work on different things depending on my energy levels throughout the day. Um, but I always try to kind of do things I want to do every day. So writing is a thing I want to do. So I make sure I make time for it every single day, to at least get a little bit done, even if it takes kind of a long time to create an article that isn't super long. Um, it's still kind of worth it to me because I'm figuring out what I know and thinking about things.
Yeah.
Cool. So where do you want to start again?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean that was a bad stop, I guess. So,
Oh, good.
Ian, I mean, so I want to understand, right? I mean, your article, right? Your content on how Discord won, right? So
Hmm.
I saw, yeah, you mentioned Discord won by building 10x better spaces for community. So I would love to understand your thoughts. Like, how did you came up with an idea of writing on an like a content on Discord, and then why do you think it was a success? Like why? Like I mean, it's a good conversation, long conversation. So let's just start from here, right?
Yeah, sure. So I think that Discord was like, it's something that I use every single day. Basically, all my friends use it. I interact with a lot of different friend groups on it and a lot of different communities. I keep kind of track of a lot of interests that I have on through Discord. So it's something that I kind of actively use, and I've seen how kind of platforms that appeal to people in gaming have progressed over the years. So a long time ago, it was using Skype, um, and Skype was really awful. Basically, the Skype would crash all the time. You had to call people all the time. Um, the chat logs were in different calls; they weren't in one place. So as soon as we could get off Skype, we did, and we moved to a platform called Razer Comms, which is like not popular at all, but it's made by the company Razer, who do a lot of computer accessories and random products, and this was one of their random products. And we really liked that, and it was kind of like Discord, but yeah, it had the always on call, it had the chat logs all in one spot, but no one really used it. So there wasn't the other communities. Whenever someone wanted to be added, it was kind of an extensive adding process because no one ever had it. So eventually they said, oh, we're shutting it down in like a year because no one uses it. So we said, oh, we'll move to Discord. And this was like 5 years ago. So yeah, we moved to Discord, all my friends and I, and Discord has kind of taken off from there. and it's kind of one basically that niche of gaming communities. There's a number of other options, but we haven't really bothered looking for other options. So that's kind of where the seed of the idea of Discord winning came from. And then kind of how it won, again, it's just way better than kind of the other options. And it focused on what it needs to focus on. It's easy to use. It's free, which is both kind of really great things, and it's pretty stable. I don't complain about Discord at all. It rarely crashes. There's some bugs, but they seem to usually be on my end, like my microphone isn't working, or something like that. So yeah, that's kind of where those ideas came from. And then, is it a good business? Was something that I think everyone wonders. It's free. How does it make money? A lot of people use it for free. How does it make money at all? And the idea, like I love the ideas of status and kind of how status works, and status as a service, which is by Eugene Wei, is a great really long article on status and kind of like the key article. And there's also an excellent book called Elephant in the Brain, which is all about signaling. And those kind of ideas are at play in Discord and how it makes money. So you can boost a server, which kind of gives you some status, some reputation within the community. It often means that you have an increased role in whatever community you have, and it gives some benefits to the server. So that is how kind of they're making a lot of their money, is through these boosts and through kind of subscriptions that people are paying for. And that seems to be working a lot better than forcing people to pay for servers. There's kind of misaligned incentives there, or having to pay for credits like Skype did back in the day, or whatever kind of ads, which like wouldn't work at all on Discord, I don't think. So yeah, it's a very interesting thing to kind of.
Yeah, I mean, you brought status up here, right? So I mean, even I mean, I'm not an avid user, but I've used Discord back in 2016, 2017, right, when they were just starting out. So, and
Yep.
like it was very much similar to Slackish type, where like it's very similar to Slack, right? But then they
Yep.
had different features where you could like pay, like for example the Nitro boost that they
Yep.
kind of release, right? So it's all kind of a status, right? You I mean, in a community yourself, you can pay for something and become different, right?
Hmm.
So what do you think, like, I mean, what Discord can make it to the, like, how can Discord go from here, from like just changing your profile picture or emoji, like a custom emoji? What do you think they can, I mean, they can do something else
So
for the status?
if they're doing around status, they already have kind of a roles feature. Um, it could be something where you get different content, different access. They could work with large communities more closely, to kind of try and find partners where if you boost a server, you get a certain deal on a certain partner. So they could work really closely with communities to provide more incentives to kind of boost that specific community, and work with kind of moderators on those communities to find specific ways that people would want to boost the server. People are already kind of boosting the server for no reason, basically. Like Discord has like certain levels. So at 2, you get a boost, like the server gets upgraded capacity, at 15 and at 30 boosts. So there's servers with like 1,000 boosts, which like past 30, you don't really need to, like there's nothing the server gets. So what can you kind of do past 30, and for specific people, other than just kind of roles and name tags? So I do think that there's a lot of opportunity there for specific content, for AMAs. I know AMAs is kind of like a Reddit concept, but some of I know that the hip hop Discord has done AMAs with artists in the past, and I'm sure there's lots of other Discords that have done AMAs. And yeah, there's a variety of of options for them to go with status and getting more people to want to boost their status, basically.
Yeah, I mean, that's very interesting. So when you say boosting, right? So it's a admin of a community. It's a community builder, for example, let's say a gaming community. Like so,
Yep.
they buy a boosting and they boost the server, right? So they pay for it.
Yep. So anybody can boost a server. So I can just join whatever server I want, and like any public server. So
Okay.
they're all listed or one that I've been invited to. So I can boost my private server, like my friends and I private server. I can have like a increase in status in my local kind of private server, or I can boost kind of um, a bigger server. So I can stand out in a bigger server. So server with hundreds of thousands of users, I can have an increased role and maybe I get less chat restriction or something like that, or stand out in some way. I just have like a fancy username, basically. So you can do it in both. You're allowed to boost whatever server you like, and there's reasons to boost small servers and there's reasons to boost big servers.
Interesting. So, I mean, yeah, that's very clever, I guess. But I mean, why do you think? I mean, that's like, I mean, I just want to know, like, what, I mean, other platforms could have taken this opportunity to make something very similar, right? Like, for example, Slack or Reddit, right? So, like, does Discord thought of something very early, way early, or how just, I mean, what was the idea?
I guess it's probably that it just how it works kind of thing. Like Slack couldn't really do it. I don't think Slack um, has been focusing on community too much, or it seems to me from the outside. I don't belong to many Slack communities. They seem more of a hassle to join, the ones that I do see. Um, and they're more focused on kind of work and enterprise, and having kind of that boost or pay for status for enterprise doesn't make any sense at all. You might as well just like kind of Slack has its business model. This status business model works for Discord. Other ones kind of, if you're paying for content like Patreon or Substack, or even YouTube has subscriptions, or Twitch, there is some kind of status there if there's a mixture of public and private, like you can pay to be in the private, but it's still kind of different. So Discord has this kind of unique thing where people are very distinct, like they don't blend into one another, like Reddit does. So I don't, whenever I go on Reddit, I don't like recognize certain users unless I'm in a very small community or super active. While on Discord, it's kind of like very obvious that these are certain users and they're active, and they're admins or moderators. And that allows Discord to have this status as well as be public, basically. So it's kind of unique to Discord, them doing this. I could see others do it, but they would kind of have to restructure some of the way their product or company is focused, basically.
Yeah. I think that's very interesting when you bring Reddit and Twitch and all these other platforms, right?
Hmm.
Because even on YouTube, like, I mean, I've seen like you can actually pay, and your notification pops up on a live stream. So when if a creator is on live stream, you can pay and your name will be on that, like a
Yep.
super something, right? And I
Yep.
think
Super chat, I think.
yeah, super chat, yeah, exactly, right. And then so I mean, when it comes to, right, you mentioned Substack, you mentioned, I think you brought up gamings also, right? So
Hmm.
I mean, what do you think, like, I mean, platforms like Reddit, right, what can they learn from gamings as a community building platform, or a platform, a platform for creators, right? Because I mean what I've seen is it just, I mean, for some reasons these platforms, right, I mean,
Yeah.
it just it, they all have different models,
Yep.
different business models, and so they can't just, I think they can't just copy or paste from someone else,
Yep.
like a feature. So what do you think, like, I mean, for example, like, let's take Reddit, right, for example. What should, I mean, what can they do to grow from here to there?
So I think Reddit is kind of the top of the community. Like they're really big. Um, I think that Reddit is kind of in an innovator's dilemma type of deal. Like they're at the very top, and there's people coming from below to kind of steal away some of their users because they have different features, and Reddit's kind of stuck in a lot of ways. Some of the problems with kind of Reddit faces is that like the community really hates self promotion in every way. So when you're on a big subreddit and you're trying to promote some creator, it's like seen super negatively. So a lot of the ways like creators can benefit from Reddit are kind of strained, I guess. So creating content for Reddit isn't exactly like a good idea. So yeah, like if you create like a super good post, and it's like a super detailed post, it's if you add a link at the bottom that says, "Oh, here's my Twitter, follow me for more posts like these." A lot of subreddits, at least this was how it was in the past, would like ban your username, like ban you basically because they don't want self promotion, and
Hmm.
that like constrains a lot of things. I think. Um, Not being able to kind of like promote good quality content by like allowing creators to do their thing. So yeah, that's kind of a big constraint on Reddit. And yeah, a lot of the big communities like Reddit's pretty safe, and their unique kind of posting formats like Today I Learned or AMAs or Ask Reddit are all like pretty safe, I think, on Reddit because they require like a lot of people to be engaged with the posts and to comment and have different stories and stuff like that. But like the smaller communities around specific games or around specific hobbies or very specific communities may be more at risk of kind of leaving Reddit and looking for other options, either specifically tailored for them or using something like Discord. I've noticed that like one of my favorite things is to go on r/Kanye, like following Kanye West. And the
Hmm.
Kanye Discord is a lot better than the Kanye subreddit. Um,
Ah,
so like I've been going on the Kanye Discord to get like Kanye related news, because they have a specific feed that only talks about Kanye related news rather than just like, oh, all these memes and kind of random posts by random people. It's like the moderators select a very specific group of topics and curate that set of news about Kanye, um, and they can't really do that as much on Reddit. So you have like some different options, and things work better in different places.
mhm.
So yeah, I'm not like entirely sure what Reddit can do. Maybe give subreddits more options around how they format their posts, what's allowed, what's not allowed, that sort of thing, rather than kind of what they're doing now, which is everything's very similar. Yeah, I think kind of allowing creators to create more on Reddit would be a good thing
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. So, I mean, you brought up Kanye, right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned, I mean, you had a subreddit of Kanye, and then people moved to Discord, right? So, like,
Mhm.
is this kind of a like, will this work with all the other subreddits? Do you think it might work with all the other subreddits?
I think it will work with some and not others. So news is like, I think Reddit does a really or a relatively good job, as good as you can ask for about news. It's like an extended comment section about news. And memes are like very good on Reddit basically because they're good at kind of rising the best memes to the top. And Discord doesn't do a good job at that because it's like a big feed basically, like a big chat log. So I think news and memes are going to work on Reddit, and as well as their unique kind of formats that I mentioned earlier are good for Reddit. So, but if your community doesn't rely on those things, then it could be a lot better elsewhere. If you're building a private community, it's not possible on Reddit. I don't think. I like it's just I've seen like no one. I don't know if it's even a feature they have, and I think that a lot more communities will be private or gated, or you have to pay to get in them. Maybe that's something Reddit can expand to as well. Um, have kind of more stricter moderation options for those communities might be an interesting idea. Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, that's good, right? So, I mean, when you talk about chat locks, right, on Discord and Slack, I mean, even Slack, similar, right? It's all instant communication. But then on Reddit, I don't think it's a mix of instant communication and like asynchronous versus
Hmm.
synchronous, right? So, like, I would love to understand, like, what's your community like ideal, or like what's the fantasy community building platform, like what features would you like to see on existing platform, let's say on a Discord?
Yeah, so I would love to see kind of modularity. So you can turn on features, you can turn off features. So some communities need voice or video. Others communities don't need that. What does the post format look like? Can you include different formats for posts? Maybe if you have a community that's built around music, maybe kind of a music link or video is the most important thing, or SoundCloud or something like that. If you have a community around information, then like posts or text posts or something like that is most important. So allowing a lot of like modularity for communities is really important. Um, so if you're going to build a platform that appeals to every community, it would have to be really modular. But on the other end, I think that a lot of great communities are specifically built for their community, basically. A lot of platforms are specifically built. So things like kind of Grailed, which is like a fashion reseller site, basically. But I think it's kind of a community. So there were subreddits back in the day, or still exist, that you can kind of resell clothing like Supreme or these hyped up brands, and a lot of them have moved to Grail to do a lot of the reselling online, and that kind of builds a community around this marketplace. Another one that's specifically built is Rate Your Music, which is like a popular music review site, basically. And yeah, so both of
Is it
these are
like
kind of,
IMDb for movies kind of thing, or Rotten
yeah, for
Tomatoes?
music, yeah.
Yeah.
So like these are specifically kind of built for these communities,
Mhm.
and have features that you couldn't even kind of add as modules to a existing site. It just works better like this. Um, yeah, so those are also really kind of exciting. Is building, having a existing community, building a very specific platform for them, and then going from there. So yeah, I think either you want it really modular or you want to build something super specific for a specific community.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, because so I follow the, I mean, on it, like I spend my time on internet and on Twitter, you meet a lot of people, so like community experts, and they say the same thing, right? It's
Hmm.
2020, just build your own platform,
Yeah,
like just build from scratch, that's it. That's
yeah.
the answer, like there's no one size fits community platform for all.
Yeah, I do think that depending on the size of the community, you can like just use the existing tools you have and build something really good. So for like smaller communities around very specific topics, if you have good moderation and you're very active, I think like just the people and the curation of people that are allowed in the community and the content that is shared with the communities can be really really important and build a really good community with the existing tools. So you don't really need like fancy tools at all if you have like really great engagement and really great content being produced. So I know that the Hustle or Trends, um, which is like a newsletter or a paid community, has a Facebook community that from the outside, I'm not in it, seems very, very active and high quality. They're always talking about um, posts that people are doing um, on their podcast, and they're sharing it on Twitter, and it seems like a good community, and they're using Facebook groups for that. And I'm sure there's plenty of other kind of good quality Facebook groups, and Facebook is looked down upon by a lot of people, but it just works if you have kind of good content and good people in there. So even if you don't have fancy tools, if you really focus on kind of creating a good experience, that can work too, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you brought up the Hustle Facebook group. So I was listening to this other day with Sam Parr,
Yeah.
the founder, right, on another podcast, right? And he was talking about this, right? People just complain that the platform is bad, but then they don't leave the platform. They are, I mean, they are in the platform, but while they still talk about that the platform is bad, and that's one of the reasons they might like may not have been like able to move the community from Facebook group to other platforms.
Yeah, so if you think about it, like people do check Facebook, so creating like another site that they have to go to on one of these like whitelisted community platforms where you have like, oh, you get your own link, which is like, oh, that's really cool, but maybe they don't check it as much if they don't like bookmark it or make a habit of checking it, but they already have the habit of checking Facebook, so if you're already where people are, then it's kind of more likely that they're going to engage with people there. So I think that Facebook groups are kind of like people get angry at them and they hate Facebook, but they still are like there and they're still like good for a lot of people, like a lot of normal people, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good way to put it. Ian, I mean, like I would like, so you know these like we are talking about Discord. We're talking about like the paid version, like you can boost yourself by buying a nitro or something like that, right? So, like, how can a community builder, like for example, building a community on Discord or any platforms, like what are the ways that they can use to monetize it? Like, because people in the earlier days, right? Like community builders, community professionals. I mean, they were spending like hours and hours in every week on a Facebook group
Hmm.
moderating, right, or a Discourse forum moderating, right? So, what can they like? How can they make money? I mean, like who is? I mean, is a creator should make money by some kind of creating content, or there should be a platform for them so that they can easily monetize what for their community.
Yeah, so this is like super interesting for me, and I'm kind of outside looking in. So I don't have like a community of my own, and I've never been like a community moderator. So I've always been like a community member. But as I kind of mentioned in my Discord article, you can pay to raise your status on Discord. But something that I've been thinking about is kind of paying to raise your skills. So this could look like a whole bunch of different things. This could be guides. So guides are very popular on Twitter. There's a lot of people who tweet out a number of kind of specific topics. They tweet out about a specific topic and they say, okay, buy my guide on Gumroad about this specific topic. You could do that for communities. So you have your community. If you want to get up to date on what the best practices are about this specific topic related to this community, buy my guide. I'm the moderator here. I've been working on this community for a long time. I have this specific expertise. I've collected all the best insights from this community. If you don't want to read through kind of years of community backlog, you can read this guide for $20 and it will make you money. So I think that's a good way to do it. A popular way on kind of gaming subreddits that I've seen or gaming ones is coaching. So this could apply to more than just gaming. This could apply to language learning. This could apply to coding. A bunch of different areas. A bunch of areas where guides also apply. You could have coaching. So for $50 an hour, or whatever the amount is, $100 an hour, whatever you want to charge, you can get from a beginner to a moderate to advanced with this coaching. We'll speed up your whole process of going through with this community. And yeah, so I think that's another good one is coaching, and that's again paying to kind of build your skills. Then of course there's kind of referrals or products, or also like you could refer guides. So a lot of communities have wiki or recommended content. You can kind of create some referrals there. And then again, kind of along with guides and coaching, you have courses. So maybe communities become part of your funnel, not like the end of the funnel. They're in the middle of the funnel. So you have kind of um, you promote yourself on Twitter or Reddit or wherever it is. Then you say, come join my specific community around this area. We're going to work with people in this community to develop a course. The course is going to cost some amount of money, $300 or whatever it is. And then you can monetize from there, and you have that course. So there's a variety of ways to do it. I think a lot of them have to do with creators creating content that's premium, that allows you to kind of boost your skills really quickly. Say, of course, you can just hang out here and learn by reading, or learn by kind of just taking in the information, or you can get up to speed really quick with this guide, course, coaching, whatever. So I think those are all really big opportunities that haven't gotten fully taken advantage of, even on like subreddits. Like, I'm thinking of Kanye directly. Like, it would be cool if someone wrote a guide or had a course like understanding Kanye through his albums. Like, here's kind of the community moderator group. Here's our guide to Kanye's albums. Like, I would pay money for that. Or if you have some specific game or art or something like this, like there's so many options that just haven't been taken advantage of. And maybe the hesitancy is around self-promotion again, where, like, since Reddit was kind of like the original internet community, everyone thinks of Reddit when they think of internet communities, and Reddit like hates self-promotion so much, and they've like gone out of their way to like ban everyone who self-promotes. It seems to me, maybe that's not true, but yeah, that people don't want to self-promote in communities, and it's seen as like, oh, you're a shill, you're a bad guy if you promote yourself. And maybe we just need to get over that hump. But that's kind of as a member, not as a kind of community moderator. That's my thoughts on the subject.
Yeah. I think the problem with Reddit, right? It's become too big. Like you said, it's the original internet community, right?
Yeah,
When people think of an internet community, they think of Reddit. So I don't think that's. I mean, Reddit is the only one with like facing the problem. I think it's Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow, the developer like the community. Like when
yep,
like I mean, it's not about self promotion, but the moment you ask a silly question, you get hate like replies, right?
yeah,
They just, I mean, they just come back at you like, oh my, like you just like, oh, I don't want to be part of that community, because that it's so toxic environment, right? Because like they think, I mean, not everyone is like expert, right? They have to start from somewhere, and like someone just, I mean, they a new beginner, a developer, or an intermediate, right, who wants to ask or get some clarity, right? If they
yeah,
post it, I mean, for them it's not a very welcoming gesture by Stag Overflow, which means they also get a bad reputation because of the community. And I think
yeah.
I've seen with a lot of similar platform, which is right now it's huge, but then yeah, it's just bad atmosphere.
Yeah, so I agree. A lot of my kind of interactions, like, it seems like a lot of communities, like when new members are coming, they ask like the stupid new member question, um, like which so and so should I buy? That's like the intro book. It's always that question, and everyone gets mad at them because it's posted like a bunch of times. So I
Yeah.
usually like don't post on kind of like Stack Overflow. I just desperately try and find it by Googling, and I assume that if someone hasn't asked the question, then I'm doing something wrong, or I'm Googling it wrong. Usually that's kind of my go-to, is just to keep Googling. And it's kind of like, you have to understand, for the community, like they're getting a bunch of these noob questions basically that they don't like getting, and they'd rather talk about like deeper questions that they have. Yeah, so it's kind of understandable. And another thing to realize is that there's this excellent post called "Everything you've read on the internet is written by crazy people." So it's basically like all of the comments on Reddit are written by people who like spend a lot of time like writing comments on the internet, which is like some like weird group of people basically. So like these are not kind of on in a lot of places they're not like normal people. Like they're yeah, they have some kind of weird incentives going on. So you have to kind of discount everything you read on these sites a lot of the times. Yeah, so I don't take it too personally when someone was mean to me. When I posted my Discord article on Hacker News, everyone was like relatively nice. They were critical at points, but I feel like the critiques were fair enough. And I was surprised at the number of comments. There was like 600 plus comments. Definitely 10x the amount of words were written about my piece than like were in my piece, which was like super interesting. So yeah, it's just how it goes. I think you can't really do much about people writing mean comments, basically.
Yeah, yeah. And I think even you find something. I mean, even comments are very interesting to read sometimes. If you are not the one who posted that, if you are not the author of the original content.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that was nice. So another one like which I can bring up is hacker news, right? Which is you have mentioned. So
Hmm.
these days, like indie hackers or no coders who are building platform, who are building some tools like selling something on Gumroad or creating a paid newsletter on Substack, right? And
Yep.
they kind of generate like 1,000 MRR. And then they post this on Hacker News. Hey, I just generated 1,000 MRR. So they get mean comments there as well.
Yeah.
Like it's just bad atmosphere everywhere. I think it's the problem when once the platform gets too big because you can't handle it, I guess.
Yep. I mean, yeah, it's understandable. Hacker News again has like a very specific community where they don't like self promotion, and it's understandable because a lot of people on there aren't looking for like kind of people self promoting basically, and aren't looking for people. Oh, hey guys, I made 1,000 MRR. They've seen lots of these posts before, and they don't want to see any more ever again. If they wanted to, they could go somewhere else and find plenty of them. So it's kind of understandable, and I feel like I'm a little lucky posting on Hacker News and people like upvoting at once. I feel like I've like won when that happens and not getting banned from Hacker News when I kind of post my own articles on there, which is interesting. But it just people kind of I guess get tired of it, and if you don't have these rules in place around kind of self promotion in a lot of ways, then it just becomes people like self promoting all the time, and yeah, so it's got to have a balance. That's why I think that moderators, moderators, or having some way to pay to get your content in front of other people. Like it would be cool if when I would go to a subreddit at the top, instead of like a generic ad, they had, oh, here's the recommended guide for this subreddit, and it said oh, here's the recommended guide. I could pay $20. Some of the money would go to Reddit, some of the money would go to the mods, some of the money would go to whoever wrote the content. I think that would be kind of a good use of space, and would allow people to make some money off communities and allow them to self-promote a little bit, but not kind of bog down the entire community with this constant self-promotion, basically.
Yeah, yeah. I think Discord has a good chance to kind of do something like that because Reddit is already doing ads, which is kind of a lot of ads. And I was listening to Jason Stratton the other day on another podcast where he said,
Mhm.
like Discord, I mean, there will never be ads on Discord, which is like amazing thing to listen.
Yeah, I don't know where they would fit in basically. Like I just don't know. Maybe you could slam ads in every time you join a call, you have to listen to a 30-second ad. But that would be a really horrible experience. So I hope they don't put ads in Discord.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it won't come. Hopefully, if hopefully there will be no ads. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. So we are talking about this platforms, tools, moderation, right? And then you have this another article that you have written. It's called "Opportunity for Internet Communities," right? Where you
Mhm.
have just listed down some kind of like things that are lacking, right? For example,
Yep.
you mentioned lack of innovation. So what do you
Yep.
mean by that? And what can new creators or new community builders can learn? I mean, just capitalize on the opportunity that there are things lacking. We just want to go ahead and build something cool.
Yeah, I think that it relates to kind of what I've talked about throughout. Um, there's Reddit has been mostly the same for a long time. It's the kind of go-to internet community. A lot of places need a different format or would work better in a different format, but they're stuck kind of on Reddit. So yeah, it requires some experimentation to figure out what kind of the innovation is needed for these communities. And you're seeing a lot more innovation, like with Patreon, with Substack, with OnlyFans as kind of a random one, and with Gumroad and with Twitter. Like actually, Twitter not so much innovation, but yeah, with Gumroad and with the ways people are doing courses and monetizing kind of communities, you are seeing this innovation, and people aren't stuck on Reddit. Anymore, or aren't stuck just on Twitter building kind of a specific marketing funnel and community there. So yeah, it would be nice to get more of these specific communities, like around specific topics, like Grailed, or as I mentioned, yeah, Grailed, or Rate Your Music, kind of have those specific community platforms to build out. I think there's kind of a lot of opportunity there to create specific platforms for specific communities, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that makes sense, right? So there is the I mean, at the end of the day, it's I think it's content that drives kind of your, like, it redirects people to your community, whatever you're creating. Let's say you are a creator, right? And then you are, I mean, let's just take for example, like you, right, Ian? So you have been writing
Yep.
good content and you have been getting subscribers, right?
Hmm.
Like over the period of time, you have like a lot of subscribers. You can, I mean, and people are writing comments on your posts, right? And they're replying to you, giving feedback on what you're writing, right? So that become a good funnels to kind of bring all of them together, right? And
Yep.
let's say, hey, I'm launching this on Discord, let's join in, right? And a lot of people have been doing that, like creators, like the creator economy or passion economy, as people call it. It's been on the rise right now, and people are
Hmm.
building things, people are creating things, right? On Substack, on Teachable, on Gumroad, right? This is a good opportunity, I guess, for them to kind of at the end of a day just bring all your people together who have been with you, reading your content, like come for
Yep.
the content and stay for the community kind of model.
Yep. Yep. I agree. I think that Substack has been wonderful. I subscribe to new Substacks all the time. Any way that a platform can incentivize people to create more good quality content is something I'm really down for, and really excited about. So yeah, these platforms that allow people to better create community through around their content, or better monetize their content, are kind of are very exciting for me. And yeah, I find them fascinating, and I support them all the way. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. So, Ian, I mean, what are like, what is the, how can, I mean, I'm sure like you're writing a lot of content. What is the next piece of content that you're you have been trying to put out on the internet?
I've been working on a piece about like bubbles, basically. So we all kind of live in an information bubble in some capacity, and there's bubbles within those bubbles, and bubbles within those bubbles, and all that sort of stuff. So I think that getting more content from communities where the content is more moderated and more curated for you is a good idea. Um, and people should kind of maybe avoid their feeds, like their Facebook feeds or their Twitter feeds, a little more, and spend more time kind of going to places with more context. So places like Discord communities, or Reddit communities, or specific communities around specific topics, they should spend more time there, because they gain more context for the content being produced there just by being there, and by um, viewing it every day, and by kind of knowing what's come in the past. While in the feed, they kind of blur everything together, and it loses the context, and we don't really understand what people are talking about fully, or kind of what they meant, or we do all these things because of our bubbles. And yeah, so that's what I'm working on that at the moment. I do think that in preparing for this, thinking about kind of the upgrade, the upgrading your skills as a way to monetize community, rather than other than just your status, is another idea that I'd like to flesh out a little more, or flesh out a little more. Yeah, so both those kind of ideas are in the works.
So I mean, once it's out, I'll be so happy to read again. Like like amazing content you have been putting out. So I'm sure people will love all those things.
Thank you.
So where can people or audience go to? I mean, where can people find you on the internet, Ian?
So yeah, they can go to my website. It's just ianvanagas.com, or they can come say hi on Twitter. I'm happy to talk with anyone. Who My email is also on my website, so you can send me an email. I'm happy to chat on Twitter, or on via email. Yeah, so both those places, ianvanagas.com or at ianvanagas on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ian, for coming on. It was so great to catch up with you.
Yeah, thank you for the great questions.
Yeah, no problem. That's it for today, folks.